think that's what she said. She said, you have to sit by me because I'm bad.
People are getting on the bus. Here's Sayana. Say hello. Hey.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, is there another?
We're still in Montgomery.
Are you making a video?
No! Yes, they're going to be on YouTube. She was already on YouTube. She likes it.
Please don't do it again. Now we're going to be listening. The movie will start back when we head back. Right now, we're going to be driving, and Mr. Phillips is going to talk to us at some point, so y'all need to be quiet when he starts talking, okay?
All right. All right, our next stop's going to be Old Alabama Town. But before we get there, we're going to stop. We're going to go by and just drive by some of the historic sites in downtown Montgomery. Montgomery is known for three things. One, it is the state capital of Alabama. Two, it's called the cradle of the Confederacy because this is where the first capital of the Confederate States was during the Civil War. And it's also known as the birthplace of the Civil Rights Movement because this is where the Montgomery bus boycott took place. And that was the triggering event that started the Civil Rights Movement here in this country. All right, we're going to touch on all three of those aspects as we go through the day. All right, right now we are riding through the Capitol complex. You see all these white buildings.
Yeah,
Generally, when you see that, that's where state employees work. State of Alabama has about 30,000 state employees. Most of them work in the Montgomery area, and the vast majority of those work in the downtown area. But when you see a lot of these white buildings, you know that's where state employees work. All right, if you look to the left side of the bus, you'll see the front steps to the state capitol. We will be there this afternoon. Matter of fact, if you want to, we'll get a class picture on the front steps there.
There's Miss Hancock's class. There's Miss Hancock's class getting their picture made.
Okay, we're going down Dexter Avenue. Dexter Avenue is named after Andrew Dexter, who founded the city of Montgomery. He was a lawyer from Rhode Island. And this was originally Market Street, but it's named after him now. All right, if you look to the left side of the bus, you'll see a church building there. That is the Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church. That is where Martin Luther King preached when he was here in Montgomery. He preached there from about 1955 to 1960. Matter of fact, that is the only church where he was the full-time pastor. Down in the basement of that building, church building, is where the local chapter of the NAACP planned the Montgomery bus boycott. All right, if you will look to the left side of the bus, you will see a big giant building there with those big columns. That is the state judicial building. That is where the judicial branch of state government is located. That building takes up an entire city block. The stone used to build that building was taken from the same quarry in Indiana where they got the stone to build the Empire State Building in New York. And each column in the front of that building weighs 75 tons. And that is where the Alabama Supreme Court meets, also the Courts of Appeal, also the State Law Library is located in that building, and along with the Administrative Office of the Courts. All right. Like I said before, this is Dexter Avenue, which was named after Andrew Dexter, who founded Montgomery. Matter of fact, his father left him 300 acres of land down by the river, which extended this far down, and he came here and actually started a settlement here, and in 1819 it became a town. Okay? All right. This is the oldest section of Dexter Avenue. If you look to the right side of the bus, over here, little building over here, it says Heaven's Depot. All right, that is the old Montgomery Fair building, and that is where Rosa Parks worked, up on the second floor of that building. And that's where she got off work one afternoon and walked down to this corner and caught the bus and she rode for a block and a half before she was escorted off the bus, and that's what started the Montgomery bus boycott. Okay? All right? All right, if you will look to the left side of the bus, you'll see the big fountain there. All right, that is the Court Square fountain. That is Montgomery's primary landmark. Let these cars go back. All right, it's been here since 1885. There used to be an old well here, artesian well, and all the farmers used to bring their horses and buggies down here, and they used to get water out of this well, and over time it got real muddy and dingy and everything, and they decided to build this, now let's go this way, build the fountain, just keep circling this fountain here. They decided to build this fountain here, so they contracted with a foundry up in New York to build that fountain. They sent it down here, and they put it together, and it's been here since 1885. Okay, the water runs pretty much all year unless it gets really, really cold. Then they'll cut it off. But at certain times during the year, they will change the color of the water. In other words, for St. Patrick's Day, they'll change it green, and in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Week, they'll change it pink, and various other colors. All right, you'll just pull right over here and then park for just a minute. Okay, let me point out a couple other things down here at this part of downtown. If you'll look at over here to the left side of the bus, there's a beige-looking building, 3-story building right there. All right, stop right here. All right, that is called the Winter Building. And that building is where the Civil War began. Up on the second floor of that building, there was a telegraph office, and Jefferson Davis, who was the President of the Confederate States, sent his Secretary of the War to go up there on the second floor and send a telegram to the commander of the Confederate troops around Fort Sumter, South Carolina, and told him to fire on the fort. And that is what started the Civil War. So in effect, the Civil War actually began on the second floor of that building right there. All right, if you look across the street at that building over there that has the big clock in front of it, all right, that used to be the Central Bank of Alabama. And that is the bank that lent the Confederate government $1 million to get started. Obviously, they never got their money back. All right? After it was no longer a bank, when I grew up, when I was a little boy, it was called Clyde & Sons Jewelers. It's a jewelry store. And that is where everybody went to get their wedding and engagement rings. And everybody would go down there to get their class rings when they were in high school. Okay, it is no longer a jeweler. They sold that years ago. And now there are plans to convert it into retail and retail space on the bottom, and then up on the second and third floors, turn that into loft apartments. Okay, got a lot of that going on in the city of Montgomery. Okay. All right, let's go back. We'll go back up this way. Up that track.
What, baby? Huh?
I don't have one on YouTube today. No, when we stop.
Yeah, we're going back up Dexter Avenue. We're going to take a left up here at this corner right here. Yeah, take a left right here on Perry. Pull up to the right up there, across from that building there that's been torn down. All right, I want to point out something right here. If you'll look to the left side of the bus, you'll see this building here that's under reconstruction that actually fell in not long ago. This is the site of the old Montgomery Theater. And back in the 1800s, they used to have a theater there and also an opera house. And Montgomery was the midpoint between New Orleans and Atlanta, and a lot of actors and performers used to come through Montgomery on the way to or from Atlanta or New Orleans, stop here and appear in plays and performances and that type of thing. And in 1860, we had a very infamous person who starred in a play here. His name was John Wilkes Booth, and he's the guy that assassinated Abraham Lincoln. But he was the lead actor in a play right here in this building there on the left. They had plans to convert that building into retail space and loft apartments, but they started to reconstruct it and it fell in, and so they're going to have to demolish the whole building now. A lot of history there. On the right side, you have St. John's Episcopal Church, one of the oldest churches in Montgomery. Jefferson Davis used to attend there. Matter of fact, there's a pew with his family's name on it.
I've been recording this for 11 minutes now. I'm sitting on the seat I've been recording this for 11 minutes now. Hey guys, my butt right now. Hey, up here. Up here. Thank you. Hey, enjoy it. Talk about yourself, girl. That's Caitlin Hatfield. She's a softball player. Like me? That's Madison. That just turned her head. That's Caitlin. She's shy. Just don't take videos. No pictures. I don't take pictures on camera. Yeah, but I don't like being on camera. We can't see you. You're not being shown. All I can see is Madison. You're taking Madison. It's not even funny. Well, all we can see is Madison. Yeah. See, look. Look. Madison the whole time. It was like this the whole time. Ah! All we can see is freaking Madison. In my freaking What is the park? What are you doing? What is the park doing? I've been standing here for like...
Okay, if I can get your attention one more time. All right, we are in Old Alabama town. This is where we're going to stop in just a few minutes. If you look over to the left side, you'll see all these old buildings. All these old buildings in this block and the next block are buildings that they demolished in some other part of the state and then brought them down here and reconstructed them here. You've got all kinds of old buildings. You got houses, you got a store, you got a school, you got a church, you got a cotton gin. You've got all kinds of buildings here, but they reconstructed them down here to show everybody what it was like for people to live back in the 1800s. Okay, you will be going to some of those buildings in just a few minutes. Okay? All right, we're going to park right here in front of Old Alabama town. Just pull in right here. Right here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to get out in just a minute and go into the auditorium. Okay.
Wait a minute. Stay seated.